It's not going to change in a positive way by chance. It literally has to by choice. You have to decide. You have to decide, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to learn from this. I'm not going to keep seeing it the same way. I have a choice. Like, I either can reshape it, reshape the meaning of that conversation, turn it into something beneficial, turn it into learning and growth, or just let it be. And if I don't do anything about it, then the past is going to dictate the present rather than the present dictating the past.
What are you looking back for? There ain't nothing back there. The past isn't going to save you. The past isn't going to help you become the person you want to become. The past ain't going to make you rich. The past ain't going to help you lose weight. All it's going to do is slow down your journey.
If we were to ask, well, who are you going to be in 10 years from now? Most people haven't really thought about it. And so most people assume that who they are in the present is going to, for the most part, be the same person they are in the future. Daniel Gilbert, who's a Harvard psychologist, been studying this for decades, attributes that mostly just to a lack of imagination, just that most people are not simply thinking about it. And so because they're not thinking about it, they just push the present into the future. From my perspective, it's a lot more useful to imagine the future and then pull the future into the present. So yet let the future dictate what you do in the present rather than let the present dictate how you see the future. And it's a skill. It's honestly a skill. Developing imagination for your future self, starting to build the connection with that identity, and then honestly starting to operate from that identity. So getting connected with the future self, a lot of it's just really about, like, am I on the right track? Am I on a track I want to be on? Do I like this? It's really a way of having conversations with yourself. It's very in line with just the whole framework of important versus urgent, right? And so it's like, if everything feels urgent and you're not connected to what's important, then you're probably not making massive strides forward. You're probably on autopilot. You're probably on the hamster wheel. So I think it's extremely important, even if you feel stressed, even if you feel busy, even if you feel like you don't have those 5 minutes to just go and sit in your journal and just write all the things you probably need that more than anyone.
You know, if someone had 5 minutes and wanted to start this, like, they're bought in, what would somebody do? I've got 5 minutes of my day, that's all I got. What would be the practice that I get into?
If you only are going to give yourself 5 minutes, period, flat, actually do it at night. So research shows that 90% of people procrastinate sleep by just mindless scrolling. And so they're literally procrastinating sleep and literally putting their future self in a hole the next morning because of mindless consumption. So, and we all, that's very common. And so in my view, what you do in the last hour of your day is the most potent form of habit formation. So, like, what we do at night, right before we sleep, is going to inform our habits way more than any other period of the day. And so a lot of huge amount of research on this, that if you just simply at the end of your day, pull out your journal and just write down 3 things from that day that you are grateful for. It's so basic, but it's shown dramatically to increase happiness and to increase sleep quality. It just gets things down, but also if you just give yourself 3 to 5 minutes, a lot of times, because people are not practiced at this, and I have different iterations of this. I have, in my mind, a lot deeper forms of reflection than just simply writing what you're grateful for. But this is honestly just a start, because it trains people to look back at the day and to think about it. And so by actually thinking about it and pondering it, they'll say, well, actually, that person at work was super nice to me. I'm grateful for that. So now they're starting to take ownership of their past. They're starting to create the frame. They're starting to actually pull usefulness from it. And so they can then think, well, today actually was pretty great. Or there was components of today that were all right. And so just by simply doing that, that's a great start.
Obviously they're connected, but what's the difference between kind of really imagining yourself in the future versus having a goal?
Imagining your future self is what can inform your goals. And so, like, as an example, when I was a graduate student, I really wanted to be a professional author. I saw that as something I wanted to do, and so that informed the goals I set, such as I want to get a book deal, which goal subsequently, allowed me to go and start blogging online and learning how to develop an audience so that I actually could get that book deal. So my future self, the person I wanted to be, thinking about my identity and goals are highly correlated. From my view, I think about my future self quite long-term, but also much more like, say, in the next 3 years, who I'm going to be in 3 years. Obviously, with a growth mindset, you're a lot more connected to, or even identified by, your future self than a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset would be you're overly identified with who you are today or even who you were in the past. Growth mindset means you're not overly identified with who you are today. You know that who you are is flexible. So you're getting really, really connected with who you could be in the future, believing that your future self could be massively more capable, more skilled, more confident. And there's a lot of research as well on the idea of getting emotionally connected to your future self. And so you want to think about it, but ultimately you want to get to a place of knowing your future self, having a friendship with your future self, beginning to invest in your future self. For me, reaching a place of acceptance, commitment, even gratitude, appreciation, and then you get to the place of knowing, where that's where I would say you're kind of at a place of confidence. You've reached a place of knowing that that's who you are now, even if there's not that much evidence. If you're building that evidence, you start to know that that's the direction you're going. You start to talk more about it. You're not that afraid of it. And so I would say that knowing is also really connected with commitment, where you're now going to find the way. This fits, with Frankl as well, Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning, where he says when the why is strong enough, you can bear anyhow, but also when the why is strong enough, you will find the how. So this fits with hope and what would be considered pathways thinking, that once you get really committed, you have that place of knowing. I'll sit in my journal, it could be 3 years in the future, and I'll literally think about the context of my future self, think about where I want to be, and I will then write a letter as my future self to me, who would be my future self's past self. I really don't think it needs to take that long. You could just take 10 or 15 minutes. It's really a skill. I think that the past and the future are skills. You get good at drafting them. So you get better and better at being flexible. There's a huge concept in psychology called psychological flexibility. And so a lot of this has to do with your ability to frame, reframe, see it from a different angle, not be so dogmatic about one angle or one view. So I can know, for example, that my view of even today is going to change, and that in a week from now I'll have different perspectives. And so I don't need to be so clingy, I guess you could say, to one angle, but also that same thing can be true of my future self. And so I think you become a lot more flexible, less rigid about, needing to do it right. I can do it as a draft, just like I would draft a blog post. And so I can get into the mindset, really think about my future self, think about where I want to be, and play with it. I could play with my imagination. The past is actually a representation of who I am now, rather than who I am now is a representation of my past.
Stop looking back, start looking forward. All the past is gonna do is slow down your journey. You gotta change shit up if you wanna be great. You see, a lot of y'all haven't seen that success in your life because you keep looking backwards instead of towards the things you want to achieve. You gotta realize that if you wanna make a significant change in your life, you gotta start doing things differently. You can't expect different results doing the same shit you've been doing for the last 6 years. You can't expect different results by doing the same shit you've been doing for the last 6 months. We gotta change it up, homie. You gotta step your game up. Push to the next level. Work later. Work longer. Work harder. If you wanna be great, you gotta act like it. Put those blinders on and start grinding. Act like a wolf and stop looking over your shoulder like a sheep. Look to the future. You got this shit. Let's go.
Who you are in the present is basically what is creating the past. Obviously, the past influences who you are in the present. It's kind of a circular, but memory is always a reconstruction in the present. And one of my favorite psychologists, he wrote a book called Time and Psychological Explanation. He said that it's more accurate to say that the present causes the meaning of the past than to say that the past causes the meaning of the present. And so what I take from that and what I've learned from that is that who I am in the present, it's largely up to me what I do with my past, how I frame it, whether I utilize it or whether I believe it's driving me. And I've learned more and more to use my past as a tool, but also to turn it into an asset where I create more and more value from it. Getting in touch with your future self is very similar to just honestly meditation. It's not the same as meditation, but it could be a form of meditation. And so I would argue if you're not taking time regularly, even to just sit and just think for even 5 or 10 minutes, but that everything feels too overwhelming, then you're, from my view, you're definitely probably off course. If I thought about it, just like with thinking about those 3 gratitudes, if I actually think about it and I say, how am I a different person than I was this morning when I woke up? The initial reaction would be, I'm not. It's only been 12 hours. How could I be different? But if I really think about it, what do I now know that I didn't know before? What experiences have I had that my prior self hadn't had when I had just woken up? And if I actually think about it, just like gratitude, I'm creating the frame of my past. I actually can and do see that I am different than my past self, even 12, 13 hours ago, or the night before, 24 hours ago. And by actually focusing on that and by appreciating that, I now acknowledge that I've changed, which increases my psychological flexibility. It allows me to see that I am not the same person, that I am growing, that I am evolving, which is really useful for then getting skillful at at thinking of your future self as a different person. If I'm different from who I was 24 hours from now, then it's likely that my future self could be different in 24 hours in positive, meaningful, and even self-directed ways. And so I just think that it's really, mastery of the past is very powerful for also developing mastery of your future.
How could this be applied to help somebody get unlocked from something that feels very traumatic?
The past is either an asset or it's a liability. And if it's an asset, that means it's something that's continuing to pay you more and more. You believe that the present and future are better as a result. That because of that experience, you're continuing to get kind of interest in the present and future. Whereas if it's a liability, you believe it's continuing to drain your present and future. And that is all based on how you're choosing to frame it, what you're choosing to do with it. And in the beginning, you may not feel like you have choice in the matter. Like, how could you see it any different?
Yeah.
And that's like the ability to get to the point where you start to try. And you start to believe that it's possible, and then you start to work on it, maybe even start to get help in looking at it from a different angle, starting to learn from it, starting to think that it was something useful. Even if you find reasons, just like finding things you're grateful for at the end of the day, you've got to like actually exert some creativity on it. You have to actually it is creativity, just as much as creativity.
I've never feared any man in my life. We don't back down from anyone, and that's what got me in trouble. I don't play games. I don't kiss anyone's ass, and I'm a real man. And if I die, I want to die, man.
What I am when I step on that court is, I become that. I am that killer snake. I'm stone cold, man.
This is what I've chosen. Why do I give up my life purpose? So do or die, and it's not a gloomy thing. I'm just going to make it happen.
The other strength I had was that for me it was do or die. Where other people kind of called it quits and threw in the towel, I didn't have the choice. Yeah, the fear didn't just drop off and let me just sit down for a bit, so I could go and go and go and go.
I consider myself a do or die, someone that has the fortitude, the work ethic, and the grit to turn all their passions into reality by seeing it, believing it, planning it, and doing it.
I'm just saying that when the mind and the body connect and you don't give yourself a way out, the only way out for me at that time was death. I'm going to be a Navy SEAL.
Or I'm going to die.
Or I'm going to die trying.
It's the moment you realize everything in your life has come to a point where you can either stay where you are or you can pick up your bags. You can build the courage to move that inch. To move that inch in order to build even just the slightest bit of momentum. It's the time in your life where it's do or die.
But the responsibility is supposed to be yours. And if you can't do it, you scratch, claw, and even die trying.
The hustler is going to outwork everybody in the room. The hustler says, if me and you are on the treadmill, two things are going to happen. Either you're going to get off first, or I'm going to die trying to beat you. Because I'm completely sold out to the dream, the vision that I'm carrying. I am totally committed to this.
Anything you want, you can get, but you have to be honest about it. Because if you don't love it and you ain't willing to die for it, don't do it.
You ain't gotta meet me nowhere. I'm coming to get you. And every giant in your life, slay him. You go back and slay him. Don't kill him, slay him.
It's do or die.
Repeat the questions again.
Why are you alive? And for what are you willing to die this very day?
I've got nothing to lose. A last-ditch do-or-die response.
What is your dream? What did you say to that teacher? What did you tell your mom and your friends? What did you say before you gave up? What did you say before reality became your truth? When did you accept the lie? When did you get comfortable? When did you get off track? When did you stop? When did you quit? I'm here to push you. I'm here to drive you. I'm here to connect with you. When did you give up? When did you talk yourself out of it? I need you to talk yourself back into it. I need you to make sure that you get those notes out. What are your goals? What are your dreams? I'm here to help you. I know you can get there. I know you can get to that next level. No doubt about it. But you got to work, baby. You got to work. You got to rise up early. You got to go to bed late. Let me tell you something. You got to get obsessive. What are you obsessed with? Any successful person I've ever seen in my life, they are different. They are obsessive.
Whatever you identify with, your intellect always tries to protect that. You're willing to fight. You're willing to die for it.
It's do or die. Look, ain't no more talking. This is it.
Dreaming is good. Having goals is good. But sooner or later, there comes a time when you must act. Dreams without action, that's the path to delusion.
Be anyone you want. Believe that you can do it and work hard to get it and it's yours. Never wait and see to believe it. Believe it and you'll see it.
The real question is how bad do you want it and what are you willing to do to get it?
When is enough going to be enough? When are you going to get passionate about attacking your goals? You are either the predator or the prey.
A true hunter hunts. A true hunter's goal is to hunt. That's what they live for. They live to hunt. They don't just live to catch it. It's the whole process.
It does not take talent. You don't have to be talented. You don't have to be gifted. You don't have to be the quickest, the strongest. You don't have to be the most intelligent to get to where I am. That's what you gotta do. You just gotta grind though. Your grind.
Anything worth believing for is worth fighting for. If you got faith for it, you gotta have fight for it. Where's your fight? I see your faith, but I don't see your fight. And it's time to get your fight up.
You have to live it. You have to want it so bad to where you'll sacrifice those Saturday nights or Friday nights with your friends.
I would rather die trying to live my dreams than to live a longer life filled with regret.
I can't want it for you. You have to want it for yourself.
So many people are over positive without having realistic positivity. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't dream big, but you better dream in sequence. To get to there, I'd have to go to here. And if I get to that, here's like, if you can't identify what levels you've got to reach to get to that, you're never going to truly believe it.
There's a very small group of people in the world who don't know how to stop. Whatever you tell them, whatever you give them, they don't know how to stop. They're going to get what they want, or they're going to, this line goes, die trying. They're going to give their best to figure out exactly what they want.
I'd rather die than compromise my gut.
Now that you've discovered, okay, I'm not doing what I want to do, I need to learn how to do what I want to do, and I need to figure out the bridge to bridge the gap between the dream and the reality. Do you know why you want to do what you actually want to do? What is your why? Because if the why is great enough, if you're aware of that why, then you can begin to back that why up with work ethic. Every why's got to be backed up by work. Work is what fuels your why.
Today is the day. Today is the day that you try that new thing. The day you say sorry, say I love you. The day you go after your dreams. Today is the beginning of the rest of your life. And it can be scary. It's a big bad world out there. But you only live once, so live. Take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to dream big.
You gotta want it so bad. You gotta give all of yourself to get it. You gotta be obsessive. You can't do what everybody else is doing and think you're gonna get it, because that's not enough anymore. You gotta do something different. You gotta do something extra. Listen to me. You have to think it all the time. You gotta think about it when you're sleeping. You have to breathe it all the time. You have to visualize it all the time. You have to be transforming all the time.
When you are committed to finishing what you started, there is no stopping you.
That's what it's gonna take. All you got, and then a little bit more. Because here's the reality. In order to get it, you must become it. You can't fake success. You can't fake this thing. Trust me. Once you are self-aware of who you are and what you want to do what you must do to make the dream a reality.
Wait, before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of my powerful videos. Every week, I drop fresh content to keep you motivated, focused, and on the right path to success. Join the Great Paths community today because your breakthrough is just one decision away.